Everyone, welcome back to the Section 214 podcast. I'm Hammer with my co-host JS and Ascent. Um, Welcome back to another bi-week episode. This is going to be a fun one because it's October and there's a lot of sports. In fact, every sport going on this month, some playoff MLB action. So we're going to talk about all the sports we like in this episode. We're also going
Yep.
to talk about the crazy Bombers and Elks game, which happened a couple of days ago. Um, and it's nice we're all back. We suffered with some technical difficulties lately, but we got that all sorted out. So one
Don't
more thing,
jinx
I'm
it.
wearing my Canucks jersey.
There might be a
PG.
blackout soon, but
Yeah,
it's a little windy
hockey
outside right
season.
now.
For now, it's working out, so that's good.
Yep.
Yep.
How we feeling?
You got
Well, Green Bay, the team I'm on, they saved my weekend because otherwise,
Sure.
if they'd lost, it would have been a very de depressing weekend for me. I mean, I watched the Eagles somehow get upset by the Giants with Jackson Dart starting the quarterback, right? Or just that was the start of misery. And then Saturday, I watched the Panthers Club of Ascends, and I and it's funny because I was deciding whether or not I wanted to watch the Elks game live or the Sens game with my friend, and I just decided on watching it with my friend, right? And then I immediately regretted that decision, but thankfully I
Ah,
recorded the game to watch later. And then also during the time I was recording that game and I was watching Sten's game, I was recording I was recording the Elks game. And then, oh yeah, and then the Cubs were playing game five of the NLDS versus the Brewers. So, uh, unfortunately, they lost that one. So we're sad about that. And then I said to you before we started recording, I said I went from rooting against a Wisconsin-based sports team to rooting for one the next day, and they won that. So
yeah,
overall, it was an amazing weekend for Wisconsin sports, but I came out of it, happy about one
exhausted.
and depressed about the other. But I don't, I have no ill will towards the Brewers. I'm like most Cubs fans probably, but that's probably it. The Brewers
That
are
is
kind
the
of like an irrelevant team for a while, right? So it's hard for me to root
that's the
against them.
beauty of October. You got every sport playing, and it's even better when you watch every sport. A little bit worse when you got university going on, just trying to shape your schedule around all the games going on.
especially when it's like
Also,
midterm season and stuff, right? It
it
makes it a bit
is.
hard to
Yeah,
watch stuff.
I've been like completely scheduling my whole life around the Blue Jays playoffs. So I'll get into that for a moment. I'll say first of all, we're in our Canucks gear because the season just started a couple days ago. I'm going to the game tonight. I was at the home opener, which they won, and hopefully they get another win tonight. We're not gonna touch on
yep.
the away game against Edmonton because away games don't count, and that was a terrible
Yeah,
game.
yeah. I was also gonna say that. Yeah, that's funny because I watched through the Elks game after I watched the Senators game, and then as soon as I got done rewatching the recording of that Elks game, I then went. I went from cheering for the Edmonton team to, and then immediately going over to the hockey game, and then the final horn like just sounded, and I saw the score was 3-1 Oilers. I was
No,
like,
that was a waste of time. Wish I didn't
oh,
watch that.
yeah. Well, I kind of had a feeling the Oilers were going to beat the Canucks anyway, so I went. I even said that to you before, and I was right.
Yeah,
So
I never want to admit it because
my gut instinct is usually correct, which is why we do a gut check
yeah,
for
I'm a big
every
Oilers
Lions
hater.
game.
Except the Elks are the one team you can feel bad for. So that's one of the examples of me being split on the team in a city like you are. I want to say a thing, um, MLB baseball. This past week has been pretty cool for my family because last year we went to a bunch of different stadiums. Back-to-back days we went to Wrigley Field and the Milwaukee Brewers
American
Stadium.
insurance. Yeah.
That's so
Yep, they
cool.
they played each other in the AL and LDS as you just mentioned. Also,
But
the Mariners, who are playing my Blue Jays, currently down 1-0 in the series. So hopefully we get the win today. Mariners hater
I
because we
don't.
always go down.
Yeah.
I know because you cheer for a different AL East team.
Well, yeah,
Phillies,
no, yeah, and I was gonna say I saw Mariners hats around while walking Brooklyn, so I went. I said, "Oh yeah,
they're not
I'm
Vancouver's
rooting for
team.
you guys."
Yeah,
Right?
if anyone's been on Twitter, they'll see that there've been a bunch of different Canucks reporters who've been debating are the Blue Jays Canada's team or the Blue Jays BC's team or the Mariners BC's team. I will just say the Blue Jays. I'm not going to expand on that because I'll let you guys expand on
Unfortunately, like
it.
I'm one of like me and my dad are kind of part of like the resistance to sports net brainwashing, right? Because that's
Yeah.
what we think it is. It's just a sports net, just like
Yeah.
making the whole
And
nation cheering for Toronto teams when in hockey we normally don't do that, right? Because we all hate the Leafs.
sure, it's brainwashing, but as a Blue Jays fan, it's great to have that.
Yeah,
It's been a fun
well,
week watching them beat the Yankees, and um,
yeah,
I've
I
not
was
seen my
happy
team in
about
the
that one though.
ALCS for
I was happy
for
about
seven
that
years,
too.
nine. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
I was gonna say I
Um,
was happy about that though because I had that temporary truce. I was rooting for the Blue Jays to beat the Yankees because I just hate the Yankees so much, right?
mhm. That was so
Yeah,
satisfying to beat them. Um, Jacob, how you feeling about sports? I know being a Sent only talk about baseball, so
I
how's
don't
it
watch a
coming?
lot of baseball, so it's not, not much I'm knowledgeable about, but I've been mostly following the Whitecaps. They're doing really, really well. They won again on, I think it was Saturday, a late goal to win the game 2-1, and they're heading to the playoffs really strong. I could see them going on a run. I don't think the best they've ever made is like the conference semifinals, but I could see them doing better than that this year if all goes well. Of course, Vancouver sports teams and playoff success generally don't go together, but you never
not
know what will
often,
happen. I'm
no.
just feeling optimistic, and I love seeing Thomas Muller having the impact they brought him in for. So let's hope that that stays true.
Yeah,
And obviously happy about the Canucks, happy about the way the CFL games broke down this week as well, especially with the Elks winning, and feeling optimistic about it overall. So that's good.
yeah, and also can I also say about hockey is that I well the team that I root for the Sens and the Canucks, right? I mean, they're both like 1-1, and the last time I checked, I think Nashville's still winning against Ottawa today. So it's uh yeah, I don't yeah, it's kind of might be a little bit of a tough time after today, but again, we don't know that. It's still extremely early in the season, and it's just you know, I got
Nice.
this. I saw this funny screenshot where there's just a screen cap of a dude's home screen that says, reasons to panic about the early start, and then don't panic about the early games. Right? I think I'll send that to you after I'm done recording. It's kind of funny. It's like the duality of man in one screenshot. Right? Don't panic and panic.
I'm glad you said that because I need to remind myself not to panic over the first two games of the NHL season, the
And
first
Yeah,
don't
one
too many
panic
game
games to
of a
go.
seven-game series. Yeah,
and don't panic
there's
about
lots of game left.
being down 1-0 in the Mariners, right? Because
Nope.
yeah,
I was pretty sad last night, but there's always today. And there's also a lot of weeks left in the CFL season if the Lions are out of it, because we are now controlling our own destiny. So one thing
yeah,
that
Isn't
just
that
and
popped into
shocking?
my
Isn't that a
mind.
huge thing to think
I
about?
know.
All we have to do is win our remaining two games or have us win a game
Calgary lose
and then
one.
Calgary lose, and I think we're good at that point. So like,
No, no, we still need Winnipeg to lose one more because
Aren't
yeah, because
aren't
if we win
aren't they eight
two,
and eight?
yeah. So basically our magic number is like three to host a playoff
yes,
game. But
yeah,
if
we
we
need
win our next two, then we're good.
yeah. So it's funny. Yeah, it's funny because yeah, I was gonna
Because Winnipeg
yeah,
doesn't have a game in hand anymore. They wasted it by losing to the Elks.
Please.
yeah. They pretty much wasted like their one chance to jump over BC today, but we'll get into that in the recap because there's that. But one more thing before we get to a little fact book with JS in a bit is that before we started recording, I went through like there was like 5 different scenarios that BC could still go through in the next 2 weeks, right? I didn't rank them by I mean you thought it was by
Likelihood.
likelihood, right?
Yeah.
But I listed it by, what I prefer to see, right? So the first, my most preferred matchup, I want to see BC host the Stampeders because, we've had their number for a bit, and I'd like to see that continue. When the second game was hosting Winnipeg, it can still happen, but we'd have to, still win out and then hope. Well, yeah, Winnipeg would need to win out, but BC would win out to just like just edge them, but by one win, right? I think BC can beat Winnipeg at home,
I think so
even
too.
with them having a number, right? Because they've been like really up and down, right? Just
Yeah.
weirdly,
Their
and
quarterback play has been very rough in the last couple of weeks.
yeah, and then the third. My third preference was, BC versus Montreal in the crossover. Should I get to that? I mean, it is going through East is seen as kind of like the easier path to the Grey Cup, but
That's what they always
with
see it as, but you have to travel east 2 weeks in a row,
yeah,
and
well, stay in the East,
that
yeah.
jet lag and everything. I don't think it's easier path. It's never once worked out. So like
On paper, it's easier, but
paper and
because
practice don't usually line up.
yeah, exactly. But I was also going to say, historically, BC is terrible in crossover games, right? Because the last time we had a crossover game between, with Montreal didn't go well, and then with Hamilton and BC versus Hamilton in the crossover, the very last, below being on the road against Winnipeg, right? Because that's the last thing I want to see is BC against Hamilton in the crossover, right? Because the last time BC played Hamilton in the crossover, we got our doors blown off, 48-8, right? That was in
Same thing with
2018.
same thing with Montreal, right? They always blow teams open in the crossover.
Yeah,
I will
so I
I'll mention that we have lost our last three away playoff games, so there's a reason those three are at the bottom of your list of
yeah,
the playoff games
I
we
don't even
want to
remember
play.
the last time we won an away playoff game. I think it must have been like at least 15 years ago because we've had a few home
oh
games that we've
man,
lost. I think, yeah, if
but
memory serves, the only time we've ever advanced in recent years is when the West Semi was at home,
yeah, I
which is kind of depressing.
depressing. Yeah, I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna look that up real quick. Well, actually, yeah, let's see seasons. I'm just gonna do live googling here.
Mhm.
I'm curious because yeah, it's just
Before we get into the next segment, I want to mention the Carolina Panthers thing that I saw that was pretty funny.
yeah, yeah. You
Hmm.
wanted to say something about that too because it's
Yeah,
I hope we don't get to that point.
yeah,
Right. But say your piece. I'm just looking up.
yeah. So there's this Carolina Panthers fan podcast like us, called Meow Mix, and they announced 2 weeks ago that they were shutting down their podcast because the team was terrible and they wanted to spend more time with their families, and it was just wasn't worth it to make a podcast anymore.
That is
And
so
that went
sad.
viral. It is so sad. I was
Yeah,
like
it's
looking at that, I'm like,
depressing.
I can't believe it. And I sent it to the group chat. I'm like, I hope we don't ever reach this point because, and I'll say right now, we're not going to shut down the podcast abruptly if the team sucks because it's almost
Yeah,
therapy to talk about it with
pretty
you
much.
guys
But that would
after
be
a
just
loss.
so sad.
It would be.
Yeah.
So I was just shocked when I saw that. But hilariously, the Panthers have won two games in a row since they
Since
shut
that,
down their
yeah,
podcast.
What if they're
yeah,
regretting it now?
we're
No,
not gonna shut down our podcast to hope BC wins the Grey Cup, right? Because
I
we need
know.
to. I
You go
mean,
out on top.
that would no. That's leave that to for the other cat team in the NFL, right? Just not us. Yeah. So I checked. The last time BC won a road playoff game was 2009 against Hamilton in the crossover.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
34-27. And I believe that was with Casey Printers at quarterback, if I remember correctly. Let
I
me
think so. We
see.
had the East Semi in Hamilton, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, Printers, Buck Pierce, and Lule with the quarterback room. But
Wow.
yeah, it was. Casey
What a room
Quentin was
of
with
legends.
us. Man, yeah, I'm glad I was the only one here that kind of remembers how Casey Quentin was played, right? And
Well, the truth is we are going to have to win a playoff game on the road if we want to make the Grey Cup. Because if we go through,
absolutely, no matter what, right? It's
like,
either a
Yep.
crossover or we got to get our revenge against the Rough Riders,
we're gonna
right?
have to
Because
go through Saskatchewan or the
yeah,
East, but preferably not.
yeah. Spoiler
But yeah,
alert: when we get to like the little reviews of the game, yeah, Saskatchewan has clinched first in the West. So they are the final boss of the Western Conference, right? So yeah, I think we got everything, pretty much covered in terms of the preliminary stuff. So let's get fully into CFL stuff. So I think you got your book ready,
All right,
JS. You got
I
a couple
picked an
things.
interesting chapter given that, we're getting into the winter time of the year now. This is, so for record, just so everybody knows the book. I'm getting it. This is the
nice.
book. To the author right there, Stephen Drake, I believe it says. So this, I did not write this. Just don't want to claim it as my own. Um, the 1984 Grey Cup was another cold game in Edmonton. You had little over 60,000 fans to watch Winnipeg pummel Hamilton 47-17, but it was
Hmm.
minus 17 degrees by the time the final play happened. And that's really, really cold. I don't remember it ever being that
Nice.
cold in my life.
I mean, when I went to the Grey Cup in Regina, like the first day I got there was minus 21, but then
Oof, that's pretty cold.
by the time the Grey Cup was being played, it was a more comfortable 0 degrees. I know they used to, right? So it warmed up like just right enough for me to be able to feel comfortable in the cold, right?
That is
Wasn't
funny.
How do you catch a ball in minus 17 degrees? Your hands would be freezing off. Like the gloves would have to be made of, I don't know, fire. And I'm sure that's a lot more common in games like Green Bay, because the NFL's played in the winter. But man, that's insane.
yeah,
And
they'll never host a Super Bowl in the open stadium ever
no, they
again,
will
right?
not. And
You say
the funny
Winnipeg
thing,
won that game?
they did
Okay,
47-17. And the funny thing
Um,
makes
about this
sense.
game was Winnipeg's receivers and defensive backs seemed to have trouble with the conditions. So the equipment man outfitted many of the players with baseball shoes recommended by the Toronto Blue Jays, and these
oh,
shoes had baseball cleats on the outside and smaller spikes on the interior of the sole. And basically, according to the book here, this helped cut through the thin layer of ice that had formed on the turf and made traction a lot better. So, and as the book says here, quote, and made the final result almost a foregone conclusion. So basically, they learned how to play with the conditions, not
um,
rig, but shift the balance in their favor. And obviously, if one team is slipping on the ice and you're not, well, you're probably going to win. So I would say well done to them.
yeah,
It's actually really
well,
smart.
Yeah.
we're never gonna have that kind of a one-sided equipment advantage ever again, right? Because it's mandated, pretty much up now that both teams
Yeah, no,
have
that wouldn't fly in this day and age. But back in the day when those things weren't monitored so closely, it was definitely possible. So like, good for them for using their available resources and
yeah.
taking advantage of it. So well done,
Yeah,
I say.
and in fact, well, I mean, the first Super Bowl, actually, no, the NFL championship between Dallas and Green Bay in the '60s, called the Ice Bowl, right? That was also a very tough, low scoring game that would won on the final, two plays by Green Bay, right? And that was, one of the most famous NFL playoff games of all time, the Ice Bowl. When I got to minus. Oh man, it was like a unhealthy amount of Fahrenheit. Like, once it gets down to minus the negatives in the Fahrenheit, it doesn't matter, right? It's
Oh
cold,
yeah,
right? It's cold
that's the
on
don't
both
go outside cold.
designations, right? Um, yeah, so it's well, since the Grey Cup's being held in Winnipeg, I mean, I do expect it to be a very cold day there by the time we get there, but
I
I'll
would
be shocked if
imagine.
it's not at least a minus, I don't know, minus 10 or 15 by November. But
Mhm.
Probably. So if the Lions are going to get there, they're going to have to learn how to play outside the comparative tropical ecosystem that is Vancouver, and learn to
yeah, the
play where it's a little cold
Marine.
in Regina probably, and then Winnipeg if they get there. So they're going to have to get used to playing in the cold. So and maybe the game in a couple of weeks in Regina on the 25th. That will be good for them, even if it's a mean nothing game, just be able to get some reps in the cold, I think will be really, really useful at this time of year.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
point.
well, I know that BT has had their heroic moments and road games in the cold weather before. But well, the last time it happened, it was really like when Travis Lulay like heaved a game tying touchdown in the late in the late seconds against Saskatchewan in 2010. Right, that was one of my favorite you know memories as a teenager. I mean, Saskatchewan eventually won that game, right? But that game time touchdown from Lulay, it was that was the start of his legend, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I get a feeling work is probably due for a moment like that in the playoffs
I'd say
soon,
so
right? Oh,
too.
hopefully against when if it's going to be against Winnipeg, I hope they do it against Winnipeg, right? Because we are due
Well,
to kill them, right? uh,
he needs a signature moment, and he's
yeah,
capable of that. So,
he had a few of those this season too, right? There was
yeah,
the game win, well, helping with the game winning field goal against Montreal, and then helping winning in overtime against Hamilton. Right? He tied the game late. But they took the lead late, and yeah, that was. Yeah, he's had a few of those moments in the regular season that we chronicled, but
I
yeah,
really hope we don't have to
playoffs is
face Winnipeg. I
playoffs.
mean, what you just mentioned about the 1970 something Grey Cup, uh,
84.
I if God, what immediately came to my mind was how Winnipeg has such an advantage being used to playing in the cold. Um, so yeah, that's just I don't want us to be go through that. That's always what's being
But when it's
told to
so
us and what we
snowy and slippery, at some point the advantages just kind of wipe out, and it's a bit of a crapshoot. I mean, just lucky breaks, whether they go your way or the other way. In theory, it should balance out, even if they do have some practice. You can't predict when you're going to slip and fall, right? So,
Mhm. We
you
lost
know,
two players due to Achilles injuries in our last West final in Winnipeg, which was brutal. So
yeah, so we don't want that to happen again.
I don't want that again.
No, no, absolutely not. It's just, oh, yeah, it's going to be an exciting next, pretty much next 3 weeks for us, right? I mean, we don't have to worry
Mm.
about losing a playoff spot anymore. It's just so
Yes.
relieving, right?
Oh,
We're
good thing.
guaranteed we're guaranteed a live stream in late October.
Everything that
Yeah.
could have gone right for the Lions in the past month kind of did go right for us to be in this position. So they
Yeah,
have to
and
take advantage of it.
right now I'm just waiting for the hammer pun intended, the hammer to drop on us,
Hammer.
and uh, hopefully not against Hamilton, but because that's a distant possibility, right? But yeah, it's yeah, it'll be yeah. This is this is I'll say I'll probably say it at the end of a Saskatchewan game, but it has been a very memorable season for all of
Yeah,
us,
it has
right?
been.
Yeah,
For our podcast for the team. Let's hope the team can strengthen it with results on the field uh, moving forward.
yeah. You got like one more fact before we get into the recap for the Elks
Is
game.
there anything interesting in here that I can pull out for us? I
I like
hope.
the
Yeah,
fact that you brought up at first.
I'll
Maybe
give you
find
another
something for the
one. Another one
Lions.
that's about cold games here. The 1975 Grey Cup in Calgary was Edmonton, Montreal, and earlier in the week, before the game, the weather was balmy, and the Calgarians had hosted the Grey Cup Festival without needing coats in November, so that's remarkable. However, on Friday before the game, a cold front settled in, and when the game was played, it was -10, and with the wind chill, it felt like -30, the most frigid Grey Cup game in history.
So that was
And
literally the opposite of what I went through with Regina.
literally -30, and the game was a 9-8 victory. There were no touchdowns, and Montreal lost the game because on a last-second field goal attempt, the holder's frozen hands caused him to misplay the snap.
Wow.
Oh,
That is just tragic.
Yeah, that is.
the football guys made it up for them in 2009 with
They
two
certainly
men.
did.
You say a
uh,
9-8 score with no touchdowns.
There were cup field goals and I guess a couple of rouges in there,
I love the
which at the
CFL.
time were still
Uh,
allowed for missed field goals, but won't be in a couple of years.
Hmm.
I'm
oh,
not bitter.
I was gonna say a
Oh,
Rouge did. That's funny. A Rouge did play a part in the Elks game. We're gonna recap pretty soon, but yeah, was yeah. I am if the Grey Cup was won on a Rouge off, I'm gonna be just like that's cinema. That's
yeah. Save our game.
that's that's the football gods telling basically CFL Blast keep that in, please. uh, keep that rule in. Anyways, yeah, let's yeah, great couple of cold weather facts, and I mean, unfortunately, this is the last bi-week episode, but maybe we can do this again with some off-season episodes as well,
Yeah, that might be fun.
especially the 214 one for
This will be
Valentine's
fun.
Day, which is going to be a
Definitely.
tradition. Uh, so yeah, so before we get into recapping that Bombers Elks game, I just want to quickly go over a couple games that happened. I think it was yeah Friday. Yeah, Friday. And Saturday, and then so the first game was yeah the Riders. They defeated Toronto Argonauts 27-19. I mean, it was kind of I watched a little bit of it because it didn't it I kind of thought that the Riders should be able to win that game, and they did. So
Hmm.
yeah, Toronto did keep it close at points. I think I saw on the scoreboard, but yeah, it was just Saskatchewan just wasn't meant to be denied first place in the West. So yeah, that
Congratulations to them for wrapping it up. It means that, hopefully when they play the Lions in a couple of weeks, they will not be trying.
but have to be trying against Winnipeg, right? Because I'm sure they just as much as us want to see Winnipeg out.
Yeah, absolutely, because
Away,
Winnipeg hasn't
away,
clinched a playoff
away as
spot.
much as possible, right? Like to the east or out of the playoffs entirely, right?
Yeah, so hopefully they'll be
So
motivated to pull out a win for us on Friday, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
yeah, so that's going to be quite something. And then of course, Calgary snapped their four-game losing streak. They beat Hamilton 37-20. That game, I was more, I was watching a lot more of, and man, Hamilton couldn't do a solid for us, right? Because
You couldn't drop the hammer on them.
couldn't do no, and also I think yeah, Montreal is still winning. I think have they won yet, or is it
He did win 30-10.
okay? Geez, 30-10. Yeah, so with Hamilton losing and now Montreal winning, so Montreal still has a chance. It's a long shot, but they can still overtake Hamilton and win the East, right? But they basically have to win out and hope Hamilton loses their last game of the season, right? Because they got a bye week next week too. So yeah. So there's still a lot of things very much in the air in these last 2 weeks in the season in terms of playoff positioning, and also a team that's still alive, and that's the Edmonton Elks. I didn't think it would be at this point after we beat them last time. When we did our Douglas College recording, I I thought that was an emphatic, you're not making it. Right? But we have to do it again. We have
Most
to
certainly
end their
do.
playoff hopes again. But again, it's also kind of a win-win situation for us in a sense, right? Because we beat Edmonton, we further solidify second place. But if we lose to Edmonton, and especially if Winnipeg loses their next game, then it'll be like a pretty much winner take. It'll set
It
up for
would
like a
be.
thrilling final week of the season, right?
Yeah.
For everybody.
I
Uh,
think no matter what, we're going to be really nervous watching the Riders game on October 25th.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
100%. And then yeah, so yeah, like I said, yeah, the Elks pretty much want a do or die situation. They had to beat Winnipeg, and they did it. But there was like a moment in the fourth quarter when I thought, okay, Winnipeg's going to come back and win this 100%, and then no, it was just a bunch of punting back and forth. I was like, oh, I'm not used to seeing Winnipeg just lose normally, right?
It
But
is all pure chaos.
It was there was definitely a very chaotic catch in this game in the fourth that was giving me flashbacks to last year when Winnipeg won on a game-winning field goal after Montreal punted into the wind that just happened to blow at a gale force wind right at the right time, right?
I can't even get over
But
that.
that's something I'm gonna remember for a long time, like the way Winnipeg won that game in Montreal. That was like
It was so rigged. Like
if
just
that
Mother
happened to
Nature.
BC, if that happened to BC, I would have been throwing stuff all over my room in
No,
anger.
no hat is safe.
Yeah, no hat safe. Like all these hats would be on the ground. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, let's get into our the recap of the Bombers and Elks game. So
Oh,
uh,
this
uh,
insane game.
yeah, so well, you watched the highlights. I watched the whole game.
Mm.
A little delayed, like after the Florida Panthers game, but yeah, I watched for all. I didn't get spoiled on it, right? I asked you guys to like, don't spoil me while I watch this, and then I basically gave you like updates as I went through the quarters, right? What I thought, but anyways, so for the first quarter, they announced. Well, it was a couple of days ago, but they said it on the broadcast that Rankin, the Elks running back, is signed for 2 years on the Elks. So he's a very good running back, right? So I'm glad they were smart enough to lock him down, right? Because as much as they drink the dumb juice on some, management decisions, this was not a this was a smart one. I'm terrified. And speaking of terrifying running backs, Oliveira it also apparently was it close to his fourth consecutive 1,000 yard season, so he did get 1,000 yards in this game. He only had 20 yards to go, I think. So yeah, he got it in this one. So I want to see this guy retire already, right? And just
Me too.
stop torturing us.
Yeah.
So yeah, Winnipeg. And then they said Winnipeg won 12 straight games versus Edmonton dating back to 2018. And I think I mentioned that
Jesus.
in another it must have been a past episode where just went like, yeah, Winnipeg just keeps killing Edmonton every time, but not yesterday. So yeah, opening kickoff, Leak returns the opening kickoff to the 49 on Edmonton's side of the field. Fajardo heaves it deep to Hilaire, but the ball hits the Winnipeg defender in the back to fall incomplete for a 2-and-out. Vival steps out of bounds the moment he catches the opponent at 13, and then Kalaros is sacked. Well, on Winnipeg's opening drive, Kalaros is sacked for a loss of 2 on first down, and then Oliveira only manages 4 yards on a short pass for their 2-and-out. Yeah, it's a bit of a theme in this game. There were definitely a lot of 2-and-outs in this game where no offense really strung together consecutive scoring plays at all, I think. It was basically, 2-and-outs or just one first down and then they punt. But yeah, in this case, it's back-to-back 2-and-outs for both teams. And on Edmonton's next drive, Fajardo overthrows Rankin on a crossing run on second down. But they got it like down to field goal range, and then Blanchard misses the 43-yard field goal wide right, and
Very wide right.
very wide right, and Laval bobbled the ball on the run back, but is tackled at the 48. That could have been a fumble if he had stayed in bounds a little bit, but thankfully for Winnipeg it wasn't. uh, so yeah, missed field goal there, and then Blanchard did struggle quite a bit in this game, but didn't. The point differential at the end, wasn't too bad. Right? It was just just an early miss, and then on Winnipeg's ensuing drive, Kalaros finds Wilson on a curl route to convert on 2nd and 13 for 16, right? And yeah, that's typical Winnipeg stuff right there because then Oliver runs to the left side to convert for 17. And then he doesn't have a catch for to convert up the right side for 10 yards in the flat. And then Dembski nearly catches a touchdown pass from Kalaros on second down, but it barely drops in like he caught it, and then it's just fell incomplete. and that could have been an early 7-0 lead for Winnipeg, but instead it was just forced Castillo to boot an easy field goal to take the lead 3-0. And then on Edmonton's ensuing drive, Fajardo throws to Julian Grant on first down wide open to go up like 37 yards. Hello's fumble. Well, yeah, Hello caught it, and what it looked like a fumble, but he caught it quick enough, and it was out of his hands fast enough to be called incomplete after a review, and that was on second down. So it also forced Blanchard to come out to make another field goal attempt, but this time it's good. So he made up for it by making an easier 37-yarder to tie the game at 3. And then on Winnipeg's next drive, Stearns hanging onto a catch by a tough throw by Calero, so he gets tackled to convert for 10. And then this is like another one of those typical Winnipeg moments where just Calero just avoids a sack, and he throws to Corcoran to convert on 2nd and 7 for 19 yards. So just we used to see Nathan Rourke avoid defenders and find somebody for first down, but to see Caleros do it, it's like, oh man. Yeah.
Boils your blood.
Boils my blood, right? And then on the last play of the quarter, Strebler adds that misery, and then he just basically runs to the left side to convert on 2nd and 3 for 6 yards. So yeah, and in the first quarter, nothing really much happening other than that missed field goal, and a bunch of 2-and-outs, and low scoring first quarter. And then the second quarter will continue that low scoring, but it was a little bit more eventful because pretty much as soon as the second quarter started, Oliveira confirmed to get 1,000 yards rushing with a first down run. And then Stearns converts on a short pass on the right side for 12 yards, and then he converts another pass on first down on the wide side of the field on the right for 11. And then from there, it was like, okay, expecting a Winnipeg touchdown, and then they get it because Strebler just easily runs it in on short yardage from the 2 on second down to take the lead 10-3. So I'm going immediately. I'm dreading. Oh no, it's gonna be because this is what Winnipeg has done to us, right? Like, as soon as they take the lead, we're dreading. Oh no, they're gonna be like running all over. They're just gonna end it right there, right?
Feel it.
Just and there was a point where I was in the game where I was tempted to look at the final score, but I relented and I went, no, I'm gonna see it through the whole game, like, but
Lucky you did.
this wasn't that moment. I did not want to spoil myself on the score, so this wasn't that moment. I thought, okay, whatever, it's 10-3. So, but Edmonton's next drive, the league return the kickoff to 25. Haleo converts on a 2nd and 10 high point catch, and he converts on a 2nd and 6 on a hitch out route for 17 yards. Rankin converts on an up the gut run for 3 yards on second down. Haleo is featured, pretty much heavy, like, he got a lot of targets on his drive that he made for catches, right? So if I was going to do statistics, so I didn't check the statistics on this game, but I'm pretty sure Haleo got like probably 10 targets and 7 catches by my estimation, right? If I'm right on that, I'll be amazed. But yeah, anyways, there was a misdirection at the snap, and then basically Fajardo throw to Haleo to convert for 12. Julian Grant barely converts on a catch for 10 yards. Rankin rumbles up the field for a 9 hard yards out the short yardage conversion, getting into the red zone. And then then he runs again on the right side to convert on first down for 12 yards. And then this drive took up half of my second quarter recap, right? Because it was a very long drive that resulted in a touchdown, thankfully, right? So that's like the key to beating Winnipeg, right? They chew up as much clock as possible and get a touchdown, right? And that's what they did here. So Fajardo ran it in the end zone nearly untouched for 4 yards, so we tied the game. But I was like, okay, now we got a game now, right? They're not gonna get away with it that easily this time, right? That's what I thought, right? But so yeah, Winnipeg's next drive, Val runs and breaks multiple tackles to pit down the ball at Winnipeg's side of the field at the 48 for the kickoff return. And then before the 3-minute warning, Closius just shorted the first down by 2 yards after a wideout pass, and then pretty much after the 3-minute warning, they just elected to punt. Right, they didn't want to chant it because they were, even when they were at relative midfield, right, which I'm kind of surprised about. Yeah, so they just decided to punt that one out, and then on Edmonton's next drive, Rankin manages 8 yards on the first one from the 20. Then he converts it on second and short for 3, but then there was an incomplete pass attempt and a long throw to the wide left side of the field to Hilaire, forces Edmonton to punt with 1:14 to go. And you know, at that point I went like this is where Winnipeg also has their kind of like their BS moments, right? When they score and then they might get another score by the end of the half, but it didn't happen here. But because the ball fumbles on the kickoff, but there was like no yards on Edmonton, despite the no yards challenge failing. But yeah, I think Mark Killam challenged the no yards and it was, you know, failed, and then it basically helped Winnipeg go up 15 yards as extra salt in the wound. Right, and then I'm thinking like, okay, they're probably going to score here, but Calero's got greedy. He threw a deep shot to Dembski after the blitz, and he's intercepted by Ross on the Edmonton defender side on the underthrow, was then tackled at the Winnipeg 29. And then on that very interception, Dembski got hurt pretty badly, and he was out the rest of the game. Oh. Right, so that's another, because, you know, Winnipeg's dealt with like a bunch of injuries in the season, but, you know, you can't have Dembski out for well, I'm sure they can rest him for these next two games, but they need to have him for playoffs, right? Because he's dangerous on the deep routes, right? So yeah, that was a bit of an omen of what was to come, but so yeah, Fajardo then runs and slides to convert for 20 yards in the middle of the field, and then basically Edmonton, you know, got decent enough to get in the field goal range, but then Blanchard misses the field goal after a time count violation penalty. So you know what that means? It's a missed field goal rouge. That was to end the half. So they basically did like they took the lead on that rouge at the end of the half. I'm like,
God, CFL.
That's another sign. That's another sign. Like, come on, don't take that away from us, man. Please.
The players are even doing it. They're showing Stuart Johnston what they want. I will always say that's intentional.
Well, it's Blanchard, so he's not a very good field goal kicker, right? So
like, he's not.
No, yeah. This could have been a 12-10 lead as well, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, Edmonton just barely takes the lead, 11-10, to end the half, right? And that's kind of a funny thing that happened, right? And then so yeah, and then I went through halftime. I, you know, quickly checked a bunch of scores in the NHL. I was speeding through halftime, and you know, we get to the third quarter. Dembski is at this point Dembski is ruled out for the rest of the game. Leak runs the opening kickoff for Edmonton to the 38, and then Rankin only manages 1 yard on a 2nd and 3 run. But this is a big time play, because on 3rd and 2, they call a run play, and that's brave to do against this front 7 for the Winnipeg defense. But Rankin like dashed through the defense, and they ran for 64 yards to score a touchdown to extend the lead to 18-10. They didn't do a
great game,
but they just did they did the one, but that was basically Rankin just like showing Edmonton management like they were right to sign him, right? And that was just man, that was huge. Right. I couldn't help but, you know, go like go, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Like, and we're gonna get to a moment in the third quarter when like that's how it feels to Winnipeg. But yeah, feeling good about that massive touchdown run by Rankin, and then on the ensuing kickoff after that touchdown, Vaval gets injured, but he seemed to be okay. At least, I mean, unfortunately, I think Joe should be good to go. But yeah, it was another bit of a scary moment there. But Oliveira gets tackled on second down for a gain of 4 yards on a short pass to force Winnipeg to punt to 2-0. So yeah, so that's even more good news for Edmonton there. So 2-0 after scoring a touchdown, and then Leak is tackled immediately for a loss of 4 on first down after they take the ball to 33. Then Julian Grant catches a clutch 2nd and 14 catch on the left side with protection around Fajardo for 19 yards. Then Smith catches for no gain on second down to force Edmonton to punt. And yeah, Vaval is gingerly, running, but he seemed to be all right in the field as he returns to punt to 22. Wilson couldn't get across on a deep route to catch a big pass on first down as it drops incomplete. And then he throws incomplete to Clausius after Caleros runs for his life, pretty much. Like he did the same thing in the second quarter, just didn't work out this time, right? So yeah, they punt again on a 2-0, and then League takes the wind effective punt to center field. Yeah, this was kind of like the opposite of the Montreal game, where the wind actually helped out Edmonton because Winnipeg punted into the wind this time, right? And then yeah, they get it to center field, but unfortunately Gittins drops a pass after he's passed the sticks on second down to force him to punt again out of bounds to the 7-yard line. And then Winnipeg does like another 2-0 here, and then this is a crazy moment in the game, right? But this is the moment when I'm like, yeah, that's how it feels, like Loki from for Ragnarok, right? Because Leak fumbled on the punt, and after the ball bounced around like multiple players, it was picked up by like another Edmonton player, Cordell Jackson. I mean, he scampered all the way to the end zone inexplicably to extend the lead to 25-10. I was going, oh my God, what is happening? In fact, that's what Dustin Nielsen says too. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, I can hear that voice.
I was the same mood too. I mean, oh my God, this is the kind of stuff that happens for Winnipeg all the time, right? And then it's like, yeah, that's how it feels.
Finally.
Yeah, and it's funny because that was also the extent of Edmonton scoring, right? They basically it's white knuckling time for them from
Damn it,
down out.
Blanchard.
But yep. But that was like the moment when I went, oh my God, this might be happening, right? But yeah, basically, and then in the rest of the third quarter, all of it, yeah, Vaval returns the kick after the 30, and he's limping a little bit, and then Oliveira runs up the middle on first down to convert with a 34-yard run. But then roughing the passer was called on a near interception on second down to help Winnipeg convert up 15 yards. So that went from bad to good for the Bombers, as if they needed any more help. But yeah, and then but Winnipeg doesn't go any further, so the defense did hold firm, and it forced Castillo to kick the 34-yard field goal to shorten the lead to 25-13. And then on the final play of the quarter on second down for the Elks, Fajardo scrambles forward to convert for the first down at the 50. Now, I think that was a pretty long run too, so it's like yeah, that's what you need to do to beat this Devil Magic team, right? Okay, fourth quarter. So Rankin starts the fourth quarter for Bang as he runs down on first down on the left side to convert for 13. But Edmonton is called for holding on first down, and then Fajardo just overthrows Victor on 2nd and 12, forced them to punt deep in the Bombers' territory at the 19. Oliveira takes Elks tacklers with him on first down to convert for 11. That gave me bad flashback to just how good Oliveira is at just getting yak yardage, right? Just insane. And then Wilson then converts on a quick pass to the right for 20 yards, but Oliveira could only got 4 yards on the short pass because he tackled under the leg. But after review, forward on Edmonton is penalized for the penalty was called like unnecessary hit on the receiver because he was tackling underneath the knees, and you can't do that. So, yeah, so a little bit of help from Winnipeg there, but Caleros immediately basically just gave the ball back to Edmonton because he threw another interception to Logan, despite the illegal block flag on the interception, to field it at the 43. So I went like, okay, that's more percentage points in Edmonton's favor for winning, right? But yeah, like a lot of other teams, I mean, you had the Elks offense don't really do anything because Fajardo nearly threw an interception for a 2-and-out, and then Baval returns to punt to the 45 after another no yards penalty makes the ball, which is funny because you know we used to see no yards penalties happen quite often, but it feels like no yards penalties are getting a little bit uncommon nowadays, isn't it?
Right.
Seems like that. But yeah, no yards to place the ball at the Winnipeg 50, and then Clausius converts on a second down catch for 25 yards to get field goal range. And then a lot of people are calling us to play of the year. I'm going to be controversial and say a lot of this play had to do with a lot of luck, because
Mhm.
Carter's interception was all skill. The
100%.
1 yarded interception. This was 200% Winnipeg BS, because Caleros heaves it up in the air to defend into double coverage. The ball bounces around the hands, and Wilson, right as the ball was gonna like fall down onto the ground, like he gets his hand right underneath the ball, and then he tucks it into his body. Like
That should have been a pick.
it should have been incomplete, right? But he caught it like just before it hit the ground, and touchdown Bombers to cut the lead to 25-20, right?
Classic
And
BS.
at that point of the game, that was the most tempted I got to check this, spoil myself on the score. Man, no, no, I believe in you, Edmonton. This is like 100%, like 200, like I said, 200% Winnipeg BS to happen, right? But this is a different team from years past, I think, right? This is like a significantly worse team, right, than years past, right? An age team, right? They can't possibly do this like again, right? And thankfully, you know, there's basically what happened is that there's Edmonton, you know, melts off enough time on the clock on their offense, right? I mean, there's been a bunch of like punting back and forth. I will say that uh yeah, so basically Winnipeg's last two drives, it's basically, there's a 2-and-out punt to Leak as he returns it to the 52 with the 3-minute warning, and then after the 3-minute warning, Edmonton's offense goes 2-and-out, small runs, and then Chris Ike converts with a second catch. Oh yeah, Chris Ike is a fun name. It's like it's hyphenated.
Like, ha,
Chris Ike converts with a second catch like all season, which is crazy to think. Like you can go for
wow.
a whole season, can only get 2 catches, right? But they must have been like really putting on the receiver. Well, I mean, obviously with no Dembski, right? They had to go down the depth chart on this one, but yeah, second catch of the season, up for 20 yards. Ross defends the pass to Wilson on 2nd and 4 and on third down. Galeros heavily overthrows Stones to turn the ball over on down. And I was expecting a flag to happen to save the Bombers at that point, but it
Mm.
didn't happen. And then
I was so happy at when
Reagan,
I was watching, and I was like, Colorado sucks, man. Like, he came up clutch for us in that game.
yeah, that's why I did mention earlier in the episode I would prefer us, even if we do play Winnipeg in the playoff, I want us to host it, right? Because I think we can do great against them at home. I think we're due, but anyways, then on after the turnover, Rankin is tackled for a loss of one with replay assistance calling off. So there was a face match penalty, but replay assistance said there's none. So they went to 2nd and 11, and then Fajardo throws Victor on the left side, short for 2 yards, and then I'm so down after a timeout and with 11 seconds to go. Mitchell returns the ball to the 9-yard line, and then they basically wasted enough time so to prevent Winnipeg from having late very late comeback. And they basically on the last play of the game, they just did a run play. They did a weird a run play with Oliveira, right? Just to see what happens, right? But no. No, they get tackled immediately. He didn't even attempt to do a bunch of lateral stuff, right? It just went down. They gave up. They waved the white flag. So
I don't know what they were thinking there. I know Oliveira's good, but he's not going to do a 99-yard run by himself at the end of the game.
No, that made no sense.
There was quite a few blockers, but you're not going to do that.
No. So once it got down to that point, I knew Edmonton would have this game in the bag. So so they basically hang on, right? After that crazy touchdown, nothing else happened, right? So it's basically Winnipeg and BC's doing the handshake meme where they make highlight reel plays of the year that end up in losses anyways, right? So and with Odell Beckham as well, back in the day and 12 years ago when he did that one-handed catch, right? That also resulted in a loss too. So rule of the season: never make a highlight reel play if you're on the losing edge of it, right? But the Helps hang on to win with the Bombers 25-20. They finally snapped that long losing streak that dated all the way back to 2018, right? Which is great. That's good. Got to do that, right? I wish BC could beat Winnipeg at some point. I mean, they did 2 years ago, but it was just when the chips were down, couldn't. But anyways. The chips were down for the Elks. They went all in this game, and then they got it, right? So they got to do it again and again. But so they kept their slim playoff hopes alive going into a big game versus us this Friday, as they improved to 7-9, and then the Bombers fall to 8-8, staying in the crossover position for the moment because of Calgary winning. So they're still in the crossover, but they basically lost key ground on BC and Calgary's, but there's still a path for Winnipeg to clinch home field advantage in the playoffs. But they basically have to. What they have to do is just, win out and they can win and then hope BC loses 2 games, or they can win out and then hope BC loses 1 more. But anyways, there's a bunch of different possibilities still. But and Calgary is not out of the woods yet either, too. So it's Edmonton is still very much alive for now.
For now,
and it's gonna be up to us to finally stick a stake in the hearts. Right, you're done. You're dead.
You'd be a bit more alive if they didn't have such a terrible start to the season like they normally do. But I say if they played Fajardo the whole year, they would have a lot better chance. He's been very good for them.
Yeah, I would say that, only time will tell if the management decides to stick with Fajardo for next year. I mean, if he drags the Elks to the playoffs, I do think Fajardo is good enough that they could actually go on an inexplicable run to the Grey Cup. He can do that. He did that for Montreal, right when they were down pretty bad, and then went on a run. I could see that happening for Edmonton, right? But it's they gotta win these next 2 games and hope Winnipeg loses twice. Right? It's gonna be a hard ask, but props to the Elks for keeping the faith and they're still alive for the penultimate week of the season, which we never thought would happen. And I think once we get to the Saskatchewan, like the end of the Saskatchewan game, we'll revisit our standings predictions one more
Yes,
time. Like after we do the recap of the Saskatchewan game, we'll revisit that and see how right and wrong we were right there. So
Yeah,
I
um,
regret a few things on there.
I do too. But
all of
most
us do.
importantly about this game, it puts BC in the pole position to host the West Semi. They don't have to look at the out of town scoreboard, and all they got to do is just show up and win 2 games. Honestly, win one game and tie the other game, and then they're good. So like they've somehow, some way put themselves in a position where they just have to show up and win 2 games, and they are guaranteed to host a playoff game.
Yeah, so we
And who would have
basically
been saying that a few weeks ago?
yeah, I would say that. Well, yeah, the hardest of the two games is definitely the Elks game because the Elks will have something to play for. They're basically they are going to be bound and determined to win. Right, not to look that's a little dangerous, but I mean, if BC loses that, like whatever, right? Just
Yeah,
we're not going to be
exactly.
we're not going to be dooming over that right too much, but yeah, I think well we will be dooming if we do fall to the crossover or
Crossover would be bad news. We
yeah
can all agree on that.
yeah or being on the road against Calgary or like the or worse Winnipeg. uh yeah, but again, not not the end of the world. We're in the playoffs. We've got a live stream coming up in the playoffs, right? We're all well good about that. So yeah, we'll see what happens in terms of BC being able to host a playoff game or not. Like we're hoping they
Yeah.
do, right? Because yeah, just we got to have that home field advantage to have better chance to win in the semis at least, and then hopefully
Been
can get
pretty good at
our
those lately.
yeah, hopefully can get our revenge against Saskatchewan the last year. Uh, I yeah, but I think no, we're on the bye week right now, but I do think BC, if they can keep winning, if they can like end the season on a 6 game winning streak, we're gonna be feeling like great about it, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, we're gonna be feeling great about our chances of getting far in the playoffs at least, right? Hopefully we won't get uh smashed in the mouth like we did in 2012 when the Stampeders pretty much like upset BC, right? But
That was a tragic loss. I remember that one very
yeah,
clearly. I was there. It was not fun.
you would. Oh man, yeah. Well, yeah. I guess. So yeah, that's the recap of that crazy Bombers Elks game that went in our favor at least because we didn't really care whether or not like the Bombers would in terms of playoff positioning, we just wanted to see, the Elks beat the Bombers just to help us, and they did. So now we're gonna have to reward them by beating up on them, hopefully. Just like no, you're done.
Mhm. Hope so.
So yeah, that's yeah, we got about 20 minutes until the Blue Jays game starts, so we're on a good time right now. So
No.
yeah,
Good time to
go
wrap it up and
Mariners.
get ready for the
Nope, go Blue Jays.
Go Blue Jays indeed.
And I'll only be watching for like 2 innings and I'm heading to the Canucks game. So yeah, I'm
Okay, so
excited
yeah,
for that.
well, yeah, well, I mean, well, you don't have like recording capabilities to record the rest of the game, right? So it's like,
No, I'll be checking my phone. I mean, I
okay,
do have recording capabilities, but I wouldn't have the time to come back home. I've got a bit of homework to do. That's
yeah,
the
you'd
fun
probably be
part of
pretty
October.
tired by
You're
the,
like,
yeah, yeah, you'd probably be pretty tired by the time to get home too, right? Too,
yeah,
so,
yeah, baseball, sport, you
okay,
can watch your
yes,
Twitter.
yeah, so, yeah, so it's our last bye week episode of the season. So, yeah, from here on out, it's just
Just
games,
games.
and we're hoping we can go like all the way to the Grey Cup and win, right? But
Yes,
That would be
for
ideal.
once, it would.
oh, it's going to be super stressful on the way there,
Mhm.
right? But that's the beauty of the sport, right? You can't you can't have a lead that's really like safe. I mean, BC's proven that been on the losing end and have come back to win games too. But
The league is
hopefully,
safe.
yeah, just hopefully for our Elks game, we can talk about another win, and and then we'll see what happens. So yeah, so that'll be it for us today. So you see in our description, we have our Twitter, our Blue Sky, our Instagram links in the
Mhm.
description, and of course like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you want to leave a long form message for us to read, you can reach us through our email at section214@gmail.com. That's SECTIONTWOFOURTEEN at gmail.com. And I didn't mess that up this time.
Oh,
No, you
my
didn't.
ears
There
open
you
for
go.
that.
Nice work.
Good job. We
Yes.
will see you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll see you on Saturday. Bye bye.
Bye, folks.